All right, graphics class, today's assignment is all about adjustment layers in Photoshop. And I'm going to show you what that is all about. Things might look a little bit different because I'm doing this not from school, from home. There will be a handout posted right here on my project guides, Photoshop 2-2, but it isn't there yet. But I'm going to show it to you this way. So that gives you an outline of what's happening in this assignment. It's 30 points today. You're going to need 3 different school appropriate photos, and the idea is adjustment layers. Today I'm going to show you what those are. You have lots of options today. You can kind of do your own thing a little bit, but you have to use 3 different school appropriate photos. I've got some step-by-step instructions on this handout. I have some options on this handout, information about saving and submitting. Gosh, it's just like always. That's kind of what I always do. Now I'm going to hop over here and show you also that on My Big Campus, what you're going to turn in today is Photoshop 2-2 adjustment layers. And now I'm going to jump over to Photoshop and show you a little bit more about how this is done. Now let me resize Photoshop a little bit into my movie window. Yay. Little adjustment here. Come to Papa. There we go. All right, here's my first example. This image with Captain America, and originally it was like a full color image. It looked like this. When I made my adjustment layer adjustment, it now looks like this. This bigger image of Captain America on the right hand side is in color, the others are black and white. Now adjustment layers are used to make visual adjustments to a layer or a part of an image or all of an image. Today we're just going to kind of do it to the entire image, and then we'll learn more later about how to work with these. Here is this isn't really a photograph, it's an illustration from The Fault in Our Stars, and I'm not advocating smoking. Apparently the guy smoked in the movie. I haven't seen the movie, so apparently the guy smokes in the movie. You guys know more than me. Originally it looked like this, just kind of a nice illustration. Okay, great. And I did what's called a posterize adjustment layer, and it looks like that with this adjustment. Now again, you know, all of these I show you, you may like them and you might not. But the beauty of it is you get to kind of try your own thing here in a minute. All right, on this one I've got the original image was from the World Cup this summer, and it looks like this. Okay, there we go. And then when I added what's called a channel mixer adjustment layer, I made it look like this. Okay, good. Here's one more example. This is, oh, I want to do this too. There we go. This is a scene from an anime, A Week of Friends. What's it? You guys know more than me. But the original picture looked like this. All right, I got that off the internet. And then I first of all did a posterize adjustment layer, and actually kind of masked it as well, but looked like that when I did it. And then I also added a vibrance adjustment layer and came up with this look. So one of the things you see here is I combined adjustment layers. On this one, again, it's a combination of adjustment layers. The original photo looked like this. It's this guy dancing. Okay, great. First, I did a threshold adjustment layer, but it's got some kind of adjustments on the adjustment layer, which I will show you here in a bit. And then I added what's called a gradient map adjustment layer. All right, so there's that one. Here's one more. It's the same image you saw a moment ago, but this one has a curves adjustment layer on it. Again, this is what the image looked like originally, and then I added a curves adjustment layer, and I got that look to it. All right. Well, you don't have to do this many. All right. You have to do 3, and I am going to say don't spend forever on like one image, just kind of tweaking it and playing with it forever, because you'll never get done if you spend forever working on, I'm going to get rid of all these images here. You'll never get done if you spend forever working on one image. So just play with the idea, move on, keep it moving. All right, well, let's get to work. I've got some pictures saved. I'm going to click File and Open, and I made a folder on my desktop here that has some pictures saved on it. And oh gosh, I'll start with this Captain America. I'm going to show you quickly, you know, different ways you can do this, and then you can have at it. So I'll start with this Captain America image, and I'm going to open that up. I just accidentally canceled it, but we'll try that again. All right, here we go. Now, an adjustment layer, you can add an adjustment layer a lot of different places. You could go to the layer menu and you could go to new adjustment layer, and then you can pick the kind of adjustment layer that you want. They're all listed right here. Now, another way you can do it is when you are over here, if you look where the layers panel is, there's an adjustments panel. And if you float your mouse over the top of these buttons that are here, you'll see that it will pop up with the names of these. Like this is a channel mixer, and this is a color lookup, and here we have a vibrance, and here we have a hue and saturation. So the pop-ups help you a little bit. The other way you can do it is way down at the bottom of the layers panel. There's a round button that looks like it's half filled and half not, and this is the same thing. So it's 3 different ways to do the same thing. On the layer menu, new adjustment layer, you can use the adjustments panel, or you can use this little button that's down here at the bottom of the layers panel and do it that way. Hey, knock yourself out. Do it however you want to. On this one, I'm going to do hue and saturation. All right, now there's a lot of things you could do with all of these options that are on the hue and saturation panel. I'll show you what I'm going to do, but don't be afraid to experiment. I'm going to take the saturation slider and push it all the way over to the left. Now, if you look behind that panel for a minute, you'll see that this image is kind of turned into just a black and white image. It doesn't have any color in it anymore. You could tweak the lightness and darkness a little bit if you want to, but I'm just going to kind of leave it at that. Now, I'm going to come up here on the panel where there's this little double back arrow, and just click that. It collapses the panel. Now, it looks like, and that would be okay right there. That could be one of your things you do today, is take a color photo, make it black and white, save it, and you got one done. But I'm going to do a little bit more, and I'm going to do it very fast. Now, notice over here on the layer panel that when I created that adjustment layer, Photoshop automatically made a layer mask. Well, we know about layer masks, right? I can take a paintbrush with black paint and adjust the size of the brush, and I can do some things like this. If I come along here and I paint with a black paintbrush, and I'm going to do this really fast, you should, if you're doing this kind of thing, you should take your time and be careful and do as neat of a job as you can, because your work is going to look a whole lot better if you like zoom in and be careful of the details and watch what you're doing. And do good work at it. But I'm just going to kind of try to do this fast and give you the idea. I'm just painting over, I'm on this layer mask of the adjustment layer, and I just paint back over the part that I want to have in color, and look at that. And you can see, if you look at the layer mask, you can tell where I painted with a black paintbrush. The rest of it's black and white. That part is in color. That's kind of a cool little effect that you can do with an adjustment layer. And again, that one was a hue and saturation. All right, well, let's go open another picture and see what else we can come up with. I'm going to open up this dancer here. I want to show you this one. All right, this was off of a Teen Nick website here. All right, whatever. But you got the dancer dude going here. All right, well, first thing is add an adjustment layer, which you can do down here. You can do it on the layers panel, adjustment layer. I'm going to add a threshold adjustment. Hello, I'm clicking here. I am going to add a threshold adjustment. There we go. And click on that. All right. And over here. Okay, now you won't have to mess with all those things. Now, the thing to play with if you're doing a threshold is the levels. As I take this little threshold levels thing and I slide it to the left or slide it to the right, and you see the effect. I can knock it almost all the way out like that, but I don't really want that. So if I come over here and I push this, I'm pushing it to the left a little bit, and I'm getting this kind of an image. It's really, this isn't even like a grayscale. This is black and white. That's all it is. All right, so I'm going to say, all right, that's kind of the look I'm going for with the threshold adjustment, and that would be pretty cool. I could say right now, let's just save that. That could be one of the 3 that you do today. But look at this. Even with adjustment layers, if you'll look over in the layer panel, even with adjustment layers, I could change the blend mode of that adjustment layer, and you start to get very different looks to it when you do that. I can change the opacity of the adjustment layer, and that lets some of the original colors show through. Oh my goodness, possibilities are endless here. All right. So here's another quick thing I want to show you. You could also combine adjustment layers. I started off with this photo. I added a threshold adjustment layer. Now what if I come back to the adjustment layer button down here, and I'm going to add a gradient map. Now you could play with any combinations you want, but I'm going to add a gradient map. Look what that's doing. Okay, well, I'm going to drop this down and say let's try a different gradient map, this blue and white thing. And again, if I collapse that panel with the double arrow, I could play with the blend mode of that adjustment layer. I could play with the opacity of that adjustment layer, and just come up with all manner of results. You just kind of never know exactly. And you know, you're going to get all kinds of looks to the photo. So I'm going to go back to normal on there because I kind of like this blue and white effect that I'm getting here. Right? I think that's kind of cool. I kind of like it. So, you know, if you get something you like, that's it. You move on. You're going to work on another picture. You're going to save that when you're going to be done. Now, I'm going to just throw one more idea at you here, and then I'm going to get out of your way. What I'll do this time is pull up this World Cup, and I'll open that up. Okay. And I'm going to go to the adjustment layer, and this time I'm going to do a channel mixer. But again, please, please, please play with whatever, curves, exposure, vibrance, color balance. You know, some of them are easier than others, but play with them. I'm going to go to channel mixer, and I'll again just going to play with these settings that are here. I'm going to tweak these combinations of red, green, and blue, and see what kinds of things that I can get going here. A little more red, less green, less blue. And you see the kinds of things that are happening to the photo there in the background. I'm making all kinds of things, and you can change it to monochrome, and you're going to get some difference there. If you do that, I don't like that quite as well. Yeah, that's kind of fun. And you could even play with this constant slider. And remember that any time that you put on a layer mask or an adjustment layer, Photoshop automatically creates a layer mask, which means you could come along with a black paintbrush. And if you want, for example, if I wanted this soccer player right here to be more of his normal color, I could just paint back over it. And I'm doing a really bad job with this because I'm not zoomed in. You know, if I really wanted to do this well, I would zoom in. I could do the same thing with this guy right here. He's got that blue jersey on, so I could, you know, paint back over him with a black paintbrush, and I'm bringing him back to his normal color while the rest of the image, and again, terrible job here is because I'm hurrying. The rest of the image has that red channel mixer effect that I gave to it, but I painted back over this to kind of bring back its normal color, and that's because I have a layer mask over here. Well, so anyway, I want you to jump in and experiment and try it out. And when you get these done, you're going to take these and do File and Save As and get to your network drive. I'm not at school right now, so I can't select my network drive. But you could just call these ADJ1 for adjustment layer. These are adjustment layers. So an easy file name would be like ADJ1, ADJ2, ADJ3. And once you do 3 of them, don't spend a ton of time on any one of them. Keep it moving. Just kind of try something, experiment, play with it, boom, move on, and see what you can come up with. I'm going to cancel that. And that's it. It's time for me to bail, time for you to sail. Off you go. Let's have at it.